Excuse me, what are you doing up here?
I'm going to my apartment.
Which apartment?
2304. Why? Let me go through.
No, don't you hear me? You're disturbing my kids. This is the last time I'm telling you to leave.
Those words, spoken in a hallway, caught on camera, they would destroy a man's entire life. But let me back up, because you need to understand how we got here. Before we dive into this story, I need you to do something for me. If you're watching this for the first time, hit that subscribe button, because stories like this, they need to be told. They need to be heard. Picture this. A Tuesday evening in September, the city of Chicago is winding down from another busy day. Downtown, the lights are starting to flicker on in the high-rises, and somewhere on Michigan Avenue, there's a building. Sleek, modern, luxury written all over it. 212 units, doorman at the entrance, concierge desk in the lobby, rooftop pool overlooking Lake Michigan. The kind of place where units start at $700,000 and go up from there. This is the kind of building where people feel safe, protected, exclusive. And on the 23rd floor of this building, something is about to happen. Something that will end with handcuffs, headlines, and a lawsuit that will shake the foundation of one man's entire existence. But before we get there, you need to meet her. Her name is Maya Richardson, and Maya is not who you think she is. See, when you look at Maya, you see a black woman, 47 years old, average height, kind face, professional. She's carrying 2 grocery bags, wearing a green suit with a yellow blouse, pearl earrings, heels that click softly on the marble floors. She looks like someone coming home from work, tired, maybe thinking about dinner, maybe thinking about kicking off those heels and relaxing for the evening. But what you don't see, what the man in this story didn't see, is that Maya Richardson is a circuit court judge. Let that sink in for a second. She sits on the bench in Cook County. Every single day she presides over civil cases, million-dollar lawsuits, contract disputes, real estate cases, civil rights violations. Lawyers in Chicago know that if you're appearing before Judge Richardson, you better have your case together. You better know the law inside and out, because she doesn't tolerate sloppy work. Maya has presided over more than 300 trials. She's written legal opinions that have been cited in appellate decisions. She's spent 25 years clawing her way up from nothing to sit where she sits now. And I mean nothing. Maya grew up on the south side of Chicago. Single father, 1-bedroom apartment. She slept on the couch until she was 14 years old. Her father drove a city bus, working double shifts just to keep food on the table. Maya would do her homework at that tiny kitchen table while her dad was out working, trying to make ends meet. But Maya was different, special, brilliant. Full scholarship to Northwestern University, full ride to Harvard Law School, graduated top 5% of her class, clerked for a federal judge, spent 8 years as a public defender, fighting for people who couldn't fight for themselves, then 6 years as a prosecutor, putting away the people who preyed on her community. 5 years ago, at age 42, she was appointed to the circuit court bench, one of the youngest judges in Cook County. And 2 weeks ago, Maya moved into this building, this beautiful luxury high-rise on Michigan Avenue, Unit 2304, a 3-bedroom corner apartment on the 23rd floor. Cost her $1.2 million. Every penny earned, every penny deserved. She wanted something beautiful, somewhere she could walk to work, somewhere she could finally enjoy the success she had built with her own 2 hands, her own mind, her own relentless work ethic. Maya knew what she was walking into, though. The building was 91% white. She'd dealt with being one of the few black faces in predominantly white spaces her entire career. The stares, the assumptions, the little comments that cut like paper cuts. She'd learned to navigate it all with grace, with professionalism, but she never expected what happened on this Tuesday evening in September. At 6:30 in the evening, Maya leaves the courthouse. Long day, exhausting day. She stops at Whole Foods on the way home. Just basics, milk, bread, fruit, chicken for dinner, nothing fancy. She enters her building through the main entrance. The doorman, Marcus, smiles at her. "Evening, Judge Richardson." She smiles back, heads to the elevators, 2 reusable grocery bags in her hands. The elevator arrives. She steps in, and just as the doors start to close, a man rushes in behind her. White, mid-40s, khaki pants, polo shirt. She's seen him around the building but never spoken to him. She presses 23. He presses 19. The elevator rises in silence. 19th floor. The man gets out. Maya continues up. 23rd floor. The doors open. Soft lighting. Thick carpet. 4 units on this floor. Maya's is at the end of the hall. Unit 2304. She walks toward her door, fishing her keys out of her purse. And then she hears it. Footsteps. Behind her. Fast footsteps. She turns. It's him. The man from the elevator. He must have taken the stairs. He's breathing hard. Face flushed. And there's something in his eyes. Something hostile. "Excuse me," he says, his voice loud, aggressive. "What are you doing up here?" Maya is confused. "I'm going to my apartment." The man steps closer. Too close, invading her space. "Which apartment?" 2304. "Why?" His eyes narrow. "I don't think so. I've never seen you before." Maya feels the first flicker of annoyance. "I just moved in 2 weeks ago. Now, if you'll excuse me." She turns back to her door, reaches for the handle. And that's when he moves. Fast. He positions himself directly between Maya and her door, his body blocking her path completely. And that's when the fear hits. Real fear. Because this isn't just a nosy neighbor. This is something else. Something darker. "Let me go through," Maya says. Her voice is steady, but her heart is pounding. "No. Just no." "Don't you hear me?" he continues. "You're disturbing my kids. This is the last time I'm telling you to leave." Maya looks at him like he's lost his mind. "Disturbing your kids? I haven't made a sound. I'm literally just trying to get into my apartment." The man's face is red now, veins visible on his neck. "How am I supposed to leave when you're blocking my way? My apartment is right behind you. And you expect me to believe you actually live here?" There it is. The implication hanging heavy in the air like smoke. "Oh, people like you don't live in places like this." He doesn't say it out loud. He doesn't have to. Maya has heard variations of it her entire life. Her voice goes cold. Ice cold. "You're harassing me right now, and this won't end well for you. I'll sue you." The man actually laughs, a harsh mocking sound. "You'll sue me? Lady, I'm on the HOA board. I know everyone who lives in this building, and I've never seen you before. So either you're lying about living here, or you're visiting someone and you're not supposed to be on this floor." Maya's jaw tightens. "I live here. Unit 2304. I've lived here for 2 weeks. Move out of my way before I call the police." The man crosses his arms, plants himself more firmly in front of her door. "Go ahead. Call them. They'll arrest you for trespassing." Now, pause here for a second. Just think about what's happening. A woman, coming home from work, carrying groceries, standing in front of her own door, being told she doesn't belong, being physically blocked from entering her own home. How would you feel? What would you do? Maya pulls out her phone, but she doesn't call the police. Not yet. She's smarter than that. She calls the building management office, the after-hours line. A woman named Jennifer answers. "This is Maya Richardson in Unit 2304. Maya says, her voice calm but firm. "I have a resident blocking me from entering my apartment and refusing to let me pass. I need security up here immediately." Jennifer's voice shifts from bored to concerned in an instant. "We'll send someone right away. Are you safe?" "For now, but I want this on record. 23rd floor, Unit 2304. Maya hangs up, looks at the man. "Ma, security is on the way. You might want to rethink your position." The man doesn't move. His eyes are cold, his jaw set. And then he says it. "You people think you can just move anywhere you want. This is a family building, a respectable building. We don't need your kind bringing down the neighborhood." "Your kind," said clearly, distinctly, on camera, because up in the corner of that hallway, there's a security camera, red light blinking steadily, recording everything, every word, every movement. Maya points to it. "Let me be very clear about something," she says, her voice like steel. "I am a circuit court judge. I sit on the bench in Cook County. I handle civil litigation, and harassment, intimidation, and unlawful detention are all things I deal with regularly in my courtroom. You are committing several violations right now, and every second of this is being recorded by that camera right there." The man glances at the camera, then back at Maya. His confidence doesn't waver. "I don't care if you're the president. You don't belong here." "Why?" Maya asks. "Because I'm black? Say it. Be honest about what this is really about." The man's face twists into something ugly, something real. "This neighborhood was fine until people like you started moving in. Crime goes up. Property values go down. I have kids in this building." "You're protecting them from what?" Maya's voice rises slightly. "A woman carrying groceries? A woman in a business suit coming home from work? What exactly am I threatening?" The man steps even closer. Maya can smell his cologne, can see the sweat on his forehead. "You know what you're doing? Don't play innocent with me." The elevator dings. Two security guards step out. One is a black man in his 50s. His name is Raymond. The other is a younger white woman named Casey, both wearing the building's security uniform. Raymond sees Maya, and his expression shifts immediately to recognition, to concern. "Judge Richardson, is everything okay?" The man's head snaps toward Raymond. "Judge?" Maya keeps her eyes locked on the man. "No, everything is not okay. This resident has been blocking me from entering my apartment for the past 7 minutes. Casey pulls out her radio. "I'm calling the police." And that's when the man's face changes. That's when he finally realizes that this situation is spiraling completely out of his control. Wait, he stammers. "There's been a misunderstanding. I didn't know she actually lived here." "You didn't bother to ask," Maya says, her voice cutting through his excuses like a knife. "You saw a black woman and immediately assumed I was a criminal. You didn't ask for my name. You didn't ask to see my keys or my ID. You just decided I didn't belong based on how I look." Raymond positions himself between Maya and the man. "Sir, I need you to step away from Judge Richardson's door right now." The man backs up, but his face is still defiant. "I was protecting my building. I have every right to question people I don't recognize." "You have no right to physically block someone from their own home," Casey says, like still holding her radio. "That's false imprisonment. The police are on their way." "This is ridiculous," the man sputters. "I'm on the HOA board. I live on the 19th floor. I'm Thomas Bennett. Everyone knows me." Maya turns to Raymond. "Can you please unlock my door? I'd like to put my groceries down before they spoil." Raymond pulls out his master key. "Of course, Judge Richardson. I'm so sorry this happened." The door opens. Maya finally steps into her apartment, sets the grocery bags on the counter. But she doesn't close the door. She doesn't leave. She wants to see how this plays out. Thomas is pacing now, running his hands through his hair. "Look, I made a mistake, okay? I didn't know she lived here. Can we just forget this happened?" "Forget it?" Maya's voice could cut glass. "You harassed me. You physically blocked me from entering my home. You made racist statements that are recorded on camera. You committed multiple crimes, and you want me to just forget it? I'll apologize. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Can we move on?" Casey's radio crackles. "Police are in the lobby. We're sending them up." Thomas's face goes pale. Actually pale. This is insane. I was just trying to keep the building safe. From a woman with grocery bags? Maya shakes her head slowly. "No. You were trying to keep black people out of your building, and you picked the wrong person to do it to." The elevator dings again. 2 Chicago police officers step out. 1 male, 1 female. Both in uniform. Body cameras clearly visible on their chests. The male officer speaks first. "We got a call about a disturbance. Who wants to explain what's going on?" Maya steps forward. Calm, professional. Every inch the judge she is. "I'm Judge Maya Richardson. I live in Unit 2304. I came home from work about 15 minutes ago. This man," she points at Thomas, "followed me from the elevator, blocked me from entering my apartment, accused me of trespassing, told me I don't belong in this building, and made explicitly racist statements, all of which is recorded on the hallway security camera. I'd like to file a formal complaint." The female officer looks at Thomas. "Sir, is this accurate?" Thomas's mouth opens, closes. There was a misunderstanding. I didn't know she lived here." "Did you ask?" "Well, no, but did you physically prevent her from entering her apartment?" "I was standing in the hallway. That's not a crime." The male officer turns to Raymond. Is there security footage of this incident? Yes, sir. The entire 23rd floor is covered by cameras, sound and video. We'll need to see that footage. Maya speaks up, her voice clear and authoritative. Officers, I want a full report filed. I want this man charged with harassment, unlawful detention, and any other applicable violations. I also want to pursue a civil case for discrimination and emotional distress. Thomas's face goes from pale to gray. Civil case? You can't be serious. Maya looks him dead in the eye. Watch me. The police take statements from everyone. They watch the security footage right there in the hallway on Raymond's tablet, and the video shows everything. Thomas rushing up the stairs to follow Maya. Thomas positioning himself in front of her door. Thomas refusing to move. Thomas's aggressive body language. The audio picks up every word, including your kind and people like you. The female officer makes notes in her report. She looks at Thomas with barely concealed disgust. Sir, based on this footage and Judge Richardson's statement, we're going to need you to come down to the station for further questioning. Questioning for what? Unlawful detention, harassment, and we'll see what else the DA wants to add. This is a joke. I live here. I'm protecting my home. The male officer's voice is firm. Sir, you have two choices. You can come with us voluntarily, or we can arrest you right here. Your call. Thomas looks around, like he expects someone to save him. The security guards stand impassively. Maya watches with her arms crossed. The officers wait. Fine, Thomas says finally. No, I'll come voluntarily, but I want my lawyer present. That's your right, the female officer says. Let's go. They escort Thomas to the elevator. As the doors close, he looks back at Maya one more time. The hatred in his eyes is unmistakable. After they leave, Raymond approaches Maya. Judge Richardson, on behalf of the building management, I want to apologize. This never should have happened. We'll be conducting a full investigation. I appreciate that, Raymond. Make sure I get a copy of that security footage. All of it. Absolutely. And if there's anything else you need, please let us know. Maya finally goes into her apartment, closes the door, leans against it. Her hands are shaking. The adrenaline is wearing off, leaving behind anger and exhaustion and something else, something deeper, humiliation. Because no matter how successful you are, no matter how hard you've worked, no matter how many degrees you have or how high you've climbed, sometimes to some people, all they see is your skin. The next morning, Maya contacted one of the top civil rights attorneys in Chicago. His name was David Chen. He'd argued cases before the Supreme Court, won multi-million-dollar settlements against police departments and corporations. Maya met him for coffee, told him everything. David listened, took notes, occasionally shook his head in disbelief. When she finished, David put down his pen. Maya, you have one of the strongest discrimination cases I've seen in years. Everything is documented, video, audio, witnesses. The statements are explicitly racist. The false imprisonment is clear. This is textbook. I want to pursue everything, Maya said. Criminal and civil. The criminal case is up to the DA, but with this evidence, they'll definitely charge him. For the civil case, we can sue for discrimination under the Fair Housing Act, intentional infliction of emotional distress, false imprisonment, and civil rights violations. We're looking at substantial damages. David paused. You know he's going to claim he was just being a concerned neighbor, right? He'll say it wasn't about race. Maya smiled grimly. Let him try. The video doesn't lie. The criminal case moved quickly. The Cook County District Attorney's Office reviewed the evidence and charged Thomas Bennett with unlawful restraint, a Class 4 felony in Illinois, and harassment, a Class C misdemeanor. Thomas hired a defense attorney, a man named Robert Klein, who specialized in making problems disappear for wealthy clients. Robert watched the security footage and immediately knew his client was in serious trouble. He tried to negotiate, offered to have Thomas apologize publicly, suggested community service, proposed a fine. The DA's office refused every offer. With video evidence this clear and a victim who was a sitting judge, they weren't backing down. The case went to trial 4 months later. It lasted 3 days. The jury deliberated for 90 minutes. Guilty on both counts. Thomas was sentenced to 1 year of probation, 200 hours of community service, mandatory bias training, and a fine of $5,000. It wasn't prison time, but the conviction meant Thomas now had a criminal record. His career, he worked in corporate law, took a massive hit. His firm put him on unpaid leave. Several clients dropped him. His reputation was destroyed. But the criminal case was just the beginning. Maya's civil lawsuit was filed 2 weeks after the criminal trial ended. The complaint was 48 pages long, cited 73 different cases. It alleged discrimination, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and violation of the Fair Housing Act. David Chen didn't ask for a specific dollar amount. He just wrote, "Substantial damages to be determined at trial." Thomas's defense team tried everything. Motions to dismiss, arguments that Maya hadn't suffered real damages, claims that Thomas was just being a concerned neighbor, suggestions that Maya was being overly sensitive. Every motion was denied. The case went to discovery. David subpoenaed Thomas's emails, text messages, and social media posts, and what they found was damning. Thomas had a history of complaining about those people moving into the neighborhood. He texted other HOA board members about trying to make the building less attractive to certain demographics. He'd posted on Facebook about property values declining when neighborhoods become too diverse. It was a pattern. Maya wasn't his first target. She was just the first one who had the resources and knowledge to fight back. The defense team realized they had no chance at trial. They approached David about settling. The negotiations took 6 weeks. Thomas's insurance company wanted to pay as little as possible. David wanted to send a message. Maya wanted justice and accountability. They settled for $1.8 million. But money wasn't the only term. Then Thomas was required to issue a public apology to Maya, resign from the HOA board, complete 200 additional hours of community service with a civil rights organization, make a $50,000 donation to a fair housing nonprofit, agree to never hold a position on any HOA or condo board again, attend ongoing bias training for 2 years. Thomas agreed to everything. He had no choice. The alternative was going to trial, and his attorneys had made it clear he would lose spectacularly. The public apology was released through David's office. It was carefully worded by Thomas's lawyers, but the key phrases were there. "I was wrong. My actions were discriminatory. I deeply regret the harm I caused." Maya read it once and filed it away. The words meant nothing to her. The accountability did. But here's what happened after the settlement. The building management company implemented new policies, mandatory bias training for all HOA board members, clear protocols for addressing residents' concerns, zero tolerance policy for discriminatory behavior. Several residents who had supported Thomas quietly moved out. Others made a point of welcoming Maya, making her feel at home. The building's demographics slowly shifted. More Black families moved in, more Asian families, more Latino families. The building became more diverse. And you know what? Property values didn't drop. They went up. Thomas Bennett lost more than money. He lost his position on the HOA board. He lost respect in the legal community. His law firm eventually let him go. His wife divorced him, cited the embarrassment and financial stress from the lawsuit. But he had to sell his condo to help cover his legal fees and the settlement. He moved to a smaller apartment in a different neighborhood. His career never recovered. The conviction and the lawsuit followed him everywhere. When potential employers Googled his name, the first thing they saw was articles about the racist incident in his building. Some people felt sorry for him, said he made a mistake, and the punishment was too severe. Others said he got exactly what he deserved. Maya doesn't spend much time thinking about Thomas. She won. The system worked. For once, a Black woman had been harassed, and the person who harassed her faced real consequences. But the victory feels hollow sometimes, because Maya knows that for every Thomas Bennett who gets caught on camera and faces accountability, there are dozens more who get away with it. Ye who harass Black neighbors, who call the police on Black families at pools, who question Black people's right to exist in certain spaces. The difference was that Maya had power. She was a judge. She knew the law. She had resources. Most people don't have those advantages. That's why Maya started speaking about the incident publicly. She gave talks at law schools, spoke at community forums, used her platform to educate people about their rights. She also mentored young Black attorneys and judges, told them her story not to scare them, but to prepare them. Because the reality is that success doesn't shield you from racism. Sometimes it makes you a bigger target. 2 years after the incident, Maya still lives in Unit 2304. She loves her apartment. The view of Lake Michigan from her living room is spectacular. She's made friends with several neighbors. She's comfortable, happy, but she never forgot that evening in the hallway. The fear she felt when Thomas blocked her path, the humiliation of being told she didn't belong, the rage at having to prove her right to exist in a space she had earned and paid for. She keeps a framed copy of the settlement agreement in her home office, not because she's proud of the money, but because it reminds her that fighting back is possible, that holding people accountable is necessary, that refusing to accept discrimination is not only right, it's essential. Thomas Bennett thought he could intimidate a black woman into leaving his building. He thought his position on the HOA board gave him power. He thought people who looked like Maya didn't belong in spaces like the residences at Michigan Avenue. But he was wrong about all of it, and that wrongness cost him his career, his marriage, his home, and $1.8 million. Maya is still a judge, still presiding over cases, still ensuring that the law is applied fairly, still living in her beautiful apartment overlooking the lake. And every time she walks down that 23rd floor hallway, past the spot where Thomas blocked her path, she remembers. She refused to be intimidated. She refused to accept being treated as less than. She refused to leave. Because she belongs there. She earned her place. And no one, no matter how bold their racism, gets to tell her otherwise. This story matters. It matters because racism isn't always hooded figures burning crosses. Or sometimes it's a man in khaki pants blocking a woman from her own apartment because he can't believe someone who looks like her could afford to live there. But this story also shows that documentation matters, that security cameras matter, that knowing your rights matters, and that sometimes, when you fight back, you win. One man, one hallway, 11 minutes, and a life destroyed by his own racism caught on camera. Because in the end, the truth is simple. You can't hide from your actions when they're recorded. You can't escape accountability when someone knows the law better than you do, and you can't win when you're fighting on the wrong side of justice. Maya Richardson proved that, and she's still standing. If this story meant something to you, please share it and subscribe to this channel. These stories need to be told. Why these lessons need to be learned? These patterns need to be broken. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.